The 53rd Congressional District covers a large part of the county, including sections of San Diego, El Cajon, and Chula Vista.
I joined the Marine Corps, earned the rank of captain, and deployed as a combat engineer.
Democratic candidate Janessa Goldbeck left the Marine Corps in August, and before that was a human rights advocate. Goldbeck says voters are most worried about the high cost of housing.
That experience of trying to find a place to live and be able to afford a neighborhood with good schools and access to easy transportation, that's tough for a lot of people. I think people are concerned about that. I'm also hearing a lot of folks talk about the climate crisis. In California and San Diego especially, we are at the forefront of feeling the effects of climate change, whether it's wildfires in our canyons and right up the road, or the effects of coastal rising sea levels on our coastal communities and our installations. So people want to see actual actionable change in Washington.
Goldbeck also says her votes in Congress won't be bought by big donors.
The reason why Congress hasn't been able to make progress on issues that a lot of Americans care about and agree on, like passing universal background checks for gun sales, is because members of Congress are bought off by special interests. So I will be a consistent voice, always asking who's behind what piece of legislation and why. Second, tackling the climate crisis. We've talked a little bit about it so far, but really the effects are being felt here in San Diego, and it's important that we address the #1 threat to our national security, which is climate change.
Meet Democrat SARA Jacobs. Her approach? Listen to everyone. Take the best ideas. Do the work. She did that at Obama's State Department.
Jacobs unsuccessfully ran for the 49th congressional seat in 2016. She's also worked as an advocate to end childhood poverty. Here are the issues she says voters in the district care most about.
One is climate change and the urgent threat that it poses, especially from young people who are very concerned about the world that they're going to be living in. Another is gun violence. I can't tell you how many young people and parents I've talked to who are so afraid to send their kids to school every single day. And then, of course, we know here in San Diego we have a crisis of the cost of living, both in housing and in healthcare.
If elected, Jacobs says she'll take a leadership role in shaping the nation's foreign policy.
Really looking at how we can make sure that we are making the world more peaceful and keeping Americans safe. And I think there's a way to do that without getting us into endless wars, without us being the world's policeman. Another issue that we hear a lot from voters and that I'm very passionate about is affordable childcare. I think we need to set a national goal that no family pays more than 10% of their income on childcare. Right now, a lot of families in San Diego are paying 30–40%. For some, it's more than rent.
I'm honest, I have integrity, and I have character.
One of the few Republican candidates in the race is FAMELA Ramos, who recently lost a bid for a school board seat in Chula Vista. She's worked as a nurse and in the hospitality industry. These are the issues she says voters are talking to her about.
Bread and butter issues, jobs, taxes, things like that. Family values. I think, I feel in this district that I'm underrepresented, especially in family values.
She has a number of priorities if elected.
I want to address immigration, border security, healthcare, and education. I really think the third party should be left out of the decision-making process. It should be like patient-doctor interaction. I think we should base healthcare costs on the free market. I think prices should be transparent.
I will never forget the issues that people live every single day, because that's what I come from.
Democratic candidate Georgette Gomez is currently the San Diego City Council president. She's grabbed endorsements from the state Democratic Party and labor and healthcare unions. Here are the issues she says voters want her to fight for.
Ensuring that there's housing that people can afford. So housing affordability is a major issue. Education, access to better education, job safety is important. We do have a district that is a majority working class district, people of color district.
Gomez's priorities include helping people get into a home they can actually afford.
The resources that we get from the Department of Housing is not enough. We have a Section 8 waiting list that is over 10 years, if not more. And that's because the housing department, the federal housing department, is not making that issue a priority. So we need to reform that. We need to ensure that we're prioritizing climate, that the cities are moving forward with their climate action plan. That's going to take resources. And yet again, there's only so much at the local level. I'm going to go to DC to make sure that there's money that comes to a region.
The 53rd is one of the bluest districts in San Diego County, with Democrats outnumbering Republicans by about a 2-to-1 margin. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.